above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolve. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they sit the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light warriors.
I got a special guest. I fucking grew up basically, went to high school, and then I saw this dude coming into the improv classes, educating us and stuff like that. And I've been looking up to him ever since. His name is Jason Phenix Tall, man, and this dude is an ill poet. And I'm so glad that you on the show, man. I'm so glad that you like took the time out. You're an actor, poet. You do a lot for the community. Thank you so much for coming on, man. This is like really real right here.
Hey, it's an honor to be here, man. I'm always here to, uplift the community, and I'm always here for you and stuff like that. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited.
Word. And we there's a lot that we can talk about, a lot. And one of the things that I want to talk about real quick is you talked about acting, and I only had like a few actors on here, so I think you're like number 3 of the how many actors I had on here. And there's so many times, I used to do acting and I gave up. How did you keep going? Like what? Because now you're a teacher now, right? Like you're teaching acting as well too now.
Well, yeah, I'm a teacher at Housatonic. I'll be teaching the improv course for the Capital Prep students, because they really can't have like a gym or whatever. This is satisfying like their like art elective. So like Housatonic linked up with Capital Prep, and they're able to take a couple of classes at Housatonic and earn like those art electives or whatever. The improv class isn't the only class that they can take to earn an art elective. I believe it's like a art class or maybe like an English class or something else. I'm not even 100% sure. I believe they earn college credits when they take this class, and for their high school, credits too. But yes, I teach for the Capital Prep students at Housatonic, and I also have my own improv troupe here in Bridgeport. Never Say No. We just did a show. Boom, Never Say No. Improv troupe.
Word.
And yes, I taught like, in several like different summer camps like Elm Shakespeare in New Haven, Hall Neighborhood House, Rebirth Arts Collective with Tanisi and Toya when we were there that summer out of Housatonic doing like we had like dance there and like video editing. Kids made their own little short documentary, and like, acting classes and creative writing. But yeah, like acting. I'm sorry, I feel like I got sidetracked. What was the question? How did I get into acting? Or you said acting by a teacher, right?
Yeah. How did you get in, and how did you kept going? Because I went to acting school and I couldn't last.
The reason why I would say like the thing that kept me going is that like I had a game plan, and I had like really, really great mentors. Like for me, is just like I always wanted to like teach acting. So like when I was navigating my way through college, I always was like looking for the internships, or like trying to get that experience of like, okay, let me teach this workshop, or let me get this internship to get on my resume, or get that experience to get the education, background with it. So with me, it wasn't always like I'm gonna prepare this monologue and then go audition. It was like, okay, I'm gonna do that, get those skills good as an actor, but also look for the opportunities, for the internships to put me in position to learn from like when I was at like doing the education department at Long Wharf, and Long Wharf is a big staple in Connecticut when it comes to theater. So I interned at the education department.
Right.
I sat there and I learned as much as I could, or learn from Elm Shakespeare, who was like another big staple in the New Haven community. They do like, Shakespeare in the Park every summer. So like I had a lot of like great mentors, and then I was like really talking to my advisors, and really asking them questions, not being afraid to go to my advisors if Southern or Professor Sheen at Houston Tonic and go, Jeff, this is what I want to do. How do I get there? That for any artist watching, okay, that is one of the most important questions you can ask. This is what I want to do. How do I get
Mm.
there? That's like one of the most important questions because you can say, hey, I want to do acting, but then it's like, what kind of acting? Do you want to do commercials? Do you want to do theater? Do you want to do film? Like, because there's different methods to get to either one of those. But yeah, that's how like I kept going. And then the other thing too is just like it's not like I was it's not like I was like a business major, at Houston Tonic taking like electives or whatever. Like for me, it made things much harder though. And career wise because it's not easy. Houston Tonic I was just a straight theater major, and then when I got to Southern, it's not like I had a minor in theater and like a major in business or like communications. Like no, it was just like straight theater. This is what I wanted to do, So what I will say is like putting yourself around those people that are like motivated also keep you motivated also, like so like for example, and this is nothing against Houston Tonic, I'm just keeping it real. It's just like if you're in say like a acting class at Houston Tonic or say like a directing class at Houston Tonic, like I love Professor Sheen. Professor Sheen is great. But being at a Houston Tonic, you might be in an acting or directing class or something and like it might be 20 students in the class, right? Out of the 20 students in the class, 12 might be theater majors, right? The rest of
Mm.
them might be like, oh, I'm a nursing major, I'm a business major. So if like your teachers stick you in a group with somebody that's a business major and you in acting one and you got that fire, like, like say me and you was like two of the people out of a group of three and it's like me and you, we on it because we actors, that third person might be like, yeah, I'm a nursing major. I'm just trying to just get this easy elective or this, that, and the third. Or, they might be fine sliding out there with a C, not realizing like, yo, this is acting one or this is directing class and we need to meet outside of class, and put like an hour in rehearsal outside of class because we were struggling in the actual class time. There's a lot about putting that time and that work in, but when I got to Southern, I realized like there's no okay 12 people or theater majors and the other 20 is just like all 20 people in there 95% of the time are theater majors, and even if like you might have one or two nursing or business majors, they about that life. They're like, look, I'm here for a reason.
Word.
I'm not about to waste this money. I'm gonna get it. So everybody's motivated, so it's different. So
That's
you just
good.
know nobody's gonna slack, and it makes you step your game up like, oh, they bought that life. Like, let me go home and memorize my lines, or let me do my script work on the train, or let me call out of work so I can spend the whole day memorizing lines or something. Like that's what it is.
Right,
So it's
right.
like putting yourself around people that are in the field that you want to be in and asking the right questions, and not being afraid to go, hey, I have trouble, please help me. I'm having trouble. Like, could you help me? Like,
Mm.
because it's not easy. Like I'm not even gonna lie and say it's not easy. Because it's not. You just gotta like do the work, have a strong work ethic, and trust that like your hard work is gonna pay off, and remember why you're doing it.
Yeah. Shouts out to Professor Sheehan, man. He is that guy is a goat.
Yeah, he
uh
taught a lot of great actors and actresses over the years, man. Like Houston Tonic, for anybody watching, like Houston Tonic is like one of the best theater programs in the whole entire like state. Like Professor Sheen is like the Phil Jackson of this shit. Okay, so
yeah,
like if you
yeah.
want to go be local and get a good theater education, you could go right to Houston Tonic and take like an acting one, acting two, directing, voice, and diction, and get that foundation. Rather than going all the way to the city and spending a whole bunch of money, you go right to Houston Tonic, take a couple of classes, get those key skills that you need, and be good. But the important thing is just like you got to put the work in. Like it's all about how
Right,
much work you put. If you put the work in, you will put the work in. You're gonna be amazing.
right, right. I got a story about him. He even though like I gave up, but he literally like was like always on me and making sure that I was embodying my craft. When we
Mhm.
did Welcome to Arroyos,
Mhm.
he wanted me to like literally make sure I soak up the culture of of Harlem, Spanish
Mm-hmm.
Harlem, and
Mm-hmm.
making sure that I understand like what the slang mean, making sure I understand. And I thought I had a good idea because I'm like, man, I'm black. But no. Every city has a different culture, and but within New York, every borough has a different culture. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like a really beautiful journey. And then, well, and then he was like laughing at me because he cast me as a cop, and he know how I felt about the police. He was like, "You're not Jamar, the anti cop. You're Jamar, the cop right now. Well, Derek, the
Mm-hmm.
cop right now." And I had to embody that. I had to literally embody being someone that I would never envision myself ever being. And that's the beautiful thing about acting, because you can take on so many different characters, so many roles.
Listen,
You can hate what you're doing, but you gotta do it so well. You gotta sell it.
listen, man. I got a story about Professor Sheen too, man. Like I got plenty of stories about that man. I love that man. Listen, yo, we was doing this play in 2010 at Houston Tonic called Freak, and Freak is about a whole bunch of high school kids, like facing their different challenges or whatever. And I was
Word,
in the play with a couple of people. Whitney Lucky was in the play with me. Shout out to Whitney Lucky. Um,
word.
and who Whitney Lucky, who was actually, I think she's actually a cop or something like that. I love Whitney Lucky though. That's just funny. Okay. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, like I was doing this play called Freak, and I forgot the name of the playwright. I think she's an Asian American playwright. Anyway, the names of the characters, they didn't have like Tommy or Joey. The names of the characters was on some old like swimmer kid, rocker girl, smart guy. Like it was just generic names. And in the play, I played two characters. I played swimmer kid and gay drama kid, or whatever the case may
Mm,
be. So like I was like, you know what, Jeff? Because we had some people in the play that were like Jamaican or whatever, and you know how Jamaicans are, like they're like Jamaican or Haitian, I forgot. But one of them was like,
mhm.
I don't want to play the gay character, So me, I was like, definitely nobody want to play the gay character. I have no problem playing a gay character because I wanted the challenge. So I had to play two
Right.
characters: swimmer kid, and like gay drama kid or whatever. And me, being like a skinny person the majority of my life, I was self conscious about playing swimmer because I had to come out on the stage in some speedos. So I challenged myself. I was just like,
Mm,
I want to be so stuck in character because you're not supposed to be okay. This is Jason on stage. It's supposed to be my thinking is swimmer. So I gotta like let go of that. This is Jason on stage. This is swimmer out here doing this scene or whatever. So I went out
word.
there and I did the scene as swimmer. And I remember like that was one part of stepping out of my comfort zone. The other part playing gay drama kid, because like I never played a gay character before. I mean, I didn't have to like like kiss like a guy or anything like that. He was gay drama kid. He was a theater guy. He was gay. He came out with the scarf on. I changed my voice a little or whatever. Really like flamboyant. That's how I played him. And I didn't understand like um because I was thinking like, okay, this is fun. This is fun to me. I just like playing the character.
Right.
But I remember during the rehearsal, Jeff kept going, Jay, don't make him funny. Don't make him funny. And I'm
Mm,
like, what are you talking about? Jeff, this character's funny, He's like, don't make him funny. And there's this part in the play where like is like one scene where like all the characters are there, and the whole time, the whole first half of the play, everybody's laughing at my character because he's a funny character. It's a funny play, but like there's this dramatic moment in a play where like the characters are like doing these confessions or like I don't like when people do this. I don't like when people do this. And like the moment gay drama kid says, I don't like when people make fun of me, you could hear a pin drop. You feel me? Because I tapped into that part of I remember what it was like being teased when I was younger. So I found
mm.
that human element of like I'm not even playing him, gay flamboyant. I gotta tell a story of like, yo, people not respecting him or they're teasing him because he's different. So I gotta bring
Right.
that human aspect to it of like, yo, this is a human being. He has feelings just like anybody else. So what if he dresses different or walks funny or, likes the same sex? He's like human and like, because of Professor Sheen, I was able to discover the human aspect of that character. So whenever I said that line in a play, that scene, you could hear a pin drop. Like the whole energy is shifting. Like I don't like when anybody makes fun of me. It's like boom, all of a sudden he's
Wow.
not funny no more. You feel me? Like they're looking at him like, oh, yo, like like rather than haha, he's running around with a scarf, funny, being flamboyant. It's just like all that stuff when
Yeah.
I say that line. So like, yeah, that's one
Just
Professor
took over
Sheen
the
story,
room.
and yeah. that's my Professor Sheen story because he really like challenged me to find like not just the comical stuff of the character, but like this character is human, and there's a story that you need to tell. Like, get out of your comfort zone, and I definitely got out of my comfort zone with those characters, and it was a challenge, but like it was fun because I was able to find a human aspect of that character and tell that story that needed to be told. So the people that feel like him could be like represented, in the proper way. So
Yeah, that's dope. That's a dope story. What did you do? What other plays? Like, how you did a lot of plays, like, and stuff like
yeah, I did
that.
a couple at Husey, and I did a couple at Husey. I did like two at Southern, and then I did like some with
Yeah,
Collective Consciousness.
I gotta go. I gotta come and see your projects one day, man. Especially that you in New Haven, and I'm literally like downtown New Haven. I'm like in the heart of everywhere where everything's at.
Man,
Like, I can get to
man, listen.
everywhere.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was just in New Haven last night. Look, man, Collective Conscious. Shout out to like Dexter Singleton and Jenny Nelson, amazing artists here
Those
in
were
the
my high
community.
school teachers.
Look, so you already know Dexter and Jenny's amazing. I can't wait to Collective Consciousness. They open up again. We were doing Skeleton Crew up there at Collective Conscious, and then like we literally started to run like at the beginning of March. So like the second
Mm,
weekend, it was just like the pandemic, the whole world got shut down. So it's just like
yeah.
but yeah, I've done stuff with Collective Consciousness. I did Jesus Hop the A Train, and I did Skeleton Crew with them. It's an amazing theater. They like to say they're the best kept secret in New Haven. Is like the plays that Dexter and Jenny picks
Mm,
to do at CCT is just like the Jesus Hop the A Train about like the justice system and the mass incarceration, and Skeleton Crew about like the auto plants closing in Detroit. Like they picked and even Tanisi and my other boy Steven, they did Passover, which is now on Passover. I think Passover just closed on Broadway, but CCT did it a couple of years ago, and Passover is about like police brutality and stuff like that. So they picked like all conscious, social justice type themes for all their plays, and it's just small, like I want to say 50, 60 seat theater, but the level of talent that comes through there is just like you can look at some of the actors in there like Tamika Petaway, like goodness, like Tamika, you should be on TV or Broadway, like you're super talented, you know. Like it's just, like I said, one of the best kept secrets, in New Haven. And you see a lot of like theater people from Husey filter in and do CCT. You'll see a lot of people from Southern filter in and do CCT. Maybe even a couple of people that from Yale, maybe that's like, hey, I'm gonna come do this play with CCT. But it's such a beautiful experience. Like that's one of my like favorite companies to work with. Like I love Dexter and Jenny. The way they work with you is like amazing. And I could say like listen, Professor Sheen, right? Professor Sheen, he taught me the basics, and that was like the warm up. It's just like when I got to CCT, Dexter's like, yep, I'm gonna push you harder than you ever been pushed before. I know I was talking about like the challenge of like Gay Drama Kid and freaking 2010, but when I started working with Dexter, man, like he was like,
oh
yeah, I know
yeah,
what you
he's
can do.
harsh.
I'll see you on stage, but now I'm gonna push you, and I had to go even further. So it's always like about tackling them challenges, and just getting better. And I did get better as an actor, like working with Dexter and Jenny
Yeah,
at CCT, but it's a cool experience. And like because of the heavy content of the plays, and you're in that small theater like 50, 60 people, it's like when that ball get rolling, and it's like the energy in the theater, it's like you're right there. So like the experience is amazing, like
right.
um
It's so
it's
intimate.
yeah.
That's a when you talk about how Dexter likes to push people, he was my director for the last play I did my senior year of high school,
Okay.
Anonymous, and I
Uh-huh.
was Anon. It was my first lead role, and let me tell you, he tore me apart, man. He made me
That's how you
like,
get better.
and I'm just like, oh my god. He's like, hit her. And that's not a her no more. That's him. Hit him. I need you to literally sell this. Hit him. And if I didn't do it right, you're not doing it right. Like everybody's like, yo. Is he yelling at? He's yelling at the student.
But listen,
But it had to be
Dex.
done. It had to be done. I had to get there.
Listen, when we was doing Jesus Hop the A Train at CCT, I was playing like this correctional officer Valdez and Terrence Riggins, who is a phenomenal actor. Like this guy's been on like TV, and Terrence is he's a little older gentleman. He's older than me. Terrence he was playing the character of I want to say Lucius or Luther. I don't remember the actual character's name, and he's playing an inmate. The other person in that play was Gillian De Los Santos. My homegirl Bridget was in the play playing Gillian's lawyer, and Rob was playing another correctional officer. Anyway, there was a scene where Valdez had to grab Terrence's character and like basically fake spit in his face, and the whole rehearsal, I was just like, cause it's like I was scared, like,
Oh shit!
you know, like scared. And Dexter's like, Jason, I'm gonna need you to really fake spit in this man's face. I don't believe you. Now, there's the other thing too. I'm 6'1". I'm about like 190 pounds. Terrence is big. Terrence is like
Right.
6 feet, probably 250 muscle. Like he's diesel. So like my skinny ass is like, all right, man, get this out. And Dexter's like, look, you gonna have to be really intimidating because Terrence is bigger than you. So like I had to be really mean. And the moment where I spit in his face is like, you know, I had to cuff him and I think turn him around. It was really abrupt, like quick. And like, yeah, it took me a couple of weeks to get it right because I was scared. And Dexter's like, no, Jay, I don't believe you. I'm gonna need you to like, you can put some stank on it, like, you know, like.
Oh man, yeah. Oh man, one great thing I saw him direct at the CT Collective. Oh man, it was this. I can't remember the name of the play, but it was basically about Martin Luther King's last moments before he left the actual hotel room.
Yeah.
Where he was
Yeah,
assassinated.
The mountaintop. I didn't get a chance to see that. I wish I could. I think Terrence was in a mountaintop. The gentleman that I'm talking about.
Oh, that's who you're talking about? That dude's phenomenal.
I think Terrence is in a mountaintop. I want to say, I'm not sure if Tamika was in it too, but I think Terrence was playing Martin Luther King in a mountaintop.
That was amazing.
I didn't get a chance to see Mountaintop because that was one of those times where I was like at Southern, man, working full time and being a theater major. So like, yo, that was tough. Like I couldn't get a chance to make it out to see plays, you know, like. But
right.
Mountaintop, I'm pretty sure was amazing. I think I probably might have that play. I might have that play. I know I've read it before, so.
Man, and your poet. So like, do you think that your acting skills is what makes your poetry so much more different from the other poets? The dynamics that you're able to actually sell what you're saying with more power.
Well, I will say this, you know, I will say this is just like taking acting classes made me a better performer when it comes to like poetry and stuff like that, because poetry, being a theater major, you have to take voice and diction class. So it's like it teaches you how to say things, you know, like with the proper diction. Like you can say, baby, I'm hungry, I want to go to the store. You could say it like, you know, regular like that. You could say it for Chase, it's like, baby, I'm hungry, I want to go to the store. Or you could say it angry, like you just punched in her face, like, baby, I'm hungry, I want to go to the store. So it's like 3 different ways you can say things. But voice and diction taught me how to like play with the language. You know, if you're you know, you're doing a love poem and you can say like, you know, instead of saying her smile is lovely, it's like, you know, you make the word sound like the word that it is, like not her smile is lovely, it's like her smile is lovely, you know, like different ways to say things. So that definitely made me a better performer as far as poetry. And I remember being in Professor Sheen's acting class, and acting one, and he kept saying, wait until what I'm teaching you, wait until you apply it to your spoken word. And I was like, okay, Jeff, like, I'm like, he's very passionate, you know how Jeff is like, wait till you find, and I'm like, okay. So one day I went to do like this, I want to do my beautiful summer poem for like college prep, VIP, Teresa Wilson and them. I want to do it at VIP for high school students. You know, beautiful summer is about a nerd, got a crush on a girl, and she ain't really like messing with him like that. And I started using the acting techniques that Jeff taught me. This is the first time I did it using acting techniques. You know, I know the poem by heart. I do it all the time. Man, and the first time I did it using the acting techniques, it was just like I just felt a ball of energy around me,
Wow.
and it was like because I was in character doing it. I wasn't Phoenix doing it. I was like, okay, let me put myself in the mindset of this character, just like I would put myself into the mindset of like of Valdez from Jesus Hop to A Train or any other character. I was using acting techniques, and I went there and I did it, and I was like, it's like riding a bike the first time without your trainer. It was like, oh my god, I'm doing it. And I was in the poem, and I was almost forgetting some of the lines because I wasn't used to like being in that energy of the character. And I did it, and I was like, yo, that was amazing. And Jerome G was like, from here on out, you gotta perform Beautiful Summer like that every single time. And then then I started putting two and two together, like,
Word.
oh, I see what Jeff was talking about. And even when Helena D. Lewis from Deaf Poetry, she came down to feature for Lyrical Voices a
Word.
couple of years ago. One of the best things she did, one of the things she said like, look, for all spoken word artists, poets out there, take an acting class.
Mm.
She was like, take an acting class. Some of the poets you see in like New York that win slams and kick butt, a lot of them they had some type of theater training. Like I don't remember which competition he won, but it's this brother by the name of Carvin Lassant. I know he won some type of competition at New Eurekan or something like that. He's an amazing poet, Carvin Lassant. Because when I met him, I was introduced to him on the poetry scene, watching him do like this dope poem about like robbing a financial aid office or whatever, which was really cool and creative. And I'm like, yo,
Right,
this
right,
guy's
right.
amazing. So, you add the poet on social media, like, hey, brother, I enjoyed your poem. You follow him. And then it's like he ends up going to Columbia University for their acting program, which is an amazing school for acting, by the way. And then it's just like, I think last year before last, he might still be on it now. It's like he's on a tour for Lin Manuel's play Hamilton. So like
Mm.
that dude, like he's like an actor. Like he's out there getting it. His skill is amazing, but it's just like you can even look up on YouTube if you see like the way he does his poems. It's like, oh, I can see how theater training benefits like doing poetry because it really helps with your performance. Because like when you're talking about slamming and like competing and trying to get that 30, like, a part of it is what you write and your message and stuff like that is what you write in the content. But the other part of it is the delivery and the
Yeah.
performance. That's everything too,
Right.
So like they go hand in hand. And I always say like, yo, a poem is just a 3 minute prayer or a 3 minute monologue. Like that's all a poem really is, because a lot of times as poets we write things, but we don't really understand what we write, because it's our poem, is like whatever. And it's like, when because I helped a couple of my people in the poetry scene, like kind of give them some acting pointers or whatever to apply to when they slam. And I'm like, who are you talking to in this poem?
Mm.
Well, this poem is about like, who are you talking to? This poem is to your ex girlfriend, or this poem is to your. Imagine them sitting in a chair right in front of you, and you saying the poem directly to them. Like, yo, you got you got a couple of times. You got I don't know. Well, one of my friends, right? He did this poem, but he was slamming or whatever, right? And one of his poems is about like one of his friends that got murdered or whatever. And the poem is about her. And
Mm.
I told him, I said, this is when I started really like applying theater training to acting. I said, you got the slam coming up, and I was just like, this is what you do, right? I said, this poem is about her, right? Imagine, she came from heaven and said, yo, you got 3 minutes and 20 seconds to tell me everything that's on your heart. Go. So when you spit that poem, imagine her sitting in front of you. And when he
Wow.
was doing when he was when he was doing a slam, right? He was trying to make a slam thing. When he was doing a slam at M White Lounge or whatever, and it was like the third round, before he even said anything, before he even spoke, you could feel his energy resonating in the whole entire room because I told him the acting stuff to do. That thinking like that character is powerful because that's the energy you about to output. And when you get in that energy, like, and then you spit that joint on a stage, they're gonna feel every single emotion you were
Facts.
spitting or whatever. So that's what I always use that story. I'll be telling people like when you apply those acting techniques, that's what's gonna bring your joint to the next level because that emotion and that passion, you can't deny it. So like yeah, I hope that answers your question about like, applying
No, nah,
acting to the poetry.
that was a great answer, because like I'm just thinking about the similarities as well too within my craft, and a lot of it is what I was learning off of like just watching y'all, because y'all was like the rock stars back in, like, you guys still are the rock stars, but you guys were like the rock stars to me when I was getting into poetry and rapping and stuff like that. You and Xavier, um, and we were trying to do the slam teams and stuff like that, and I would just like look, and what I'm seeing is now is just like, because I already thought you was the shit back then when I was a teenager, but now I'm hearing that you also like was like growing your craft even more still, and building and even getting stronger and learning more aspects. And I'm just like, wow. So I'm over here thinking you already was on top of the game, but you still like
No,
was.
no, listen. At that time when I met you, I was still like, I think like a lot of these stories that I'm telling you is like at that time when I met you. That's why like I'm like fresh out of acting one, still learning it myself,
Right,
you know. And
right,
a big thing that I will say, like, it's always good to have like um somebody that's been on the scene longer than you to like teach you. And that's why I said like it's okay to like humble yourself and ask questions, because it's like, yo, hey, midnight, I see you just got a 30 in the slam. Like, how do I want to do that? How do I get there? How do I get better? Hey, Qualo, could you give me feedback? Shauna, what can I take out this
right,
poem?
right,
Buddha, can
right,
I edit this? Like, we write a poem, we call 6 or 7 people, and we try to like get feedback so we can become better,
right,
and I understand how it is to be new on the scene and just kind of be like trying to find your way. And it's like, man, I need help and feel alone and, or whatever. And, I know how that feels. So that's why, like, anybody that's new on the scene, even to like, to this day, you see me at Poets Realm or whatever, um, I'll talk to the newer artists and I'll be like, hey, I really enjoyed your poem or whatever. And I'll talk to them and I'll chop it up because somebody did that to me, like,
mm,
when I first started. And that's how I got better. It's just like, you could never stop learning. So like if I see a poet that's 16, 17, or somebody that's 18, 19, and they're like, yo, I just wrote this and this is my first time doing poetry, I'm gonna encourage them and be like, yo, add me on a book. If you got any questions, you know, feel free to hit me up because like it's all about learning and growing. Like they always say, like, acting is the most like selfless like gift or whatever because like it's not yours. You prep and you learn and everything, but you give everything to the audience and everything to the crowd. So for me, it's just like I'm very open about like, hey, yeah, I do improv, yeah, I do acting, I do poetry. If you ever have a question, feel free to hit me up and I'll teach you, how to do what it is that I do, or I'll answer any questions that you have because somebody did that for me. A Dexter did that for me. A Tanisi did that for me. A Jenny did that for
mm,
me. A Professor Shane did that for me. Professor Mason, like, a Midnight did that for me. Influence Shauna Buddha. Like, if I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for these people, if it wasn't for me humbling myself and be like, yo, hey, help me. Whether they're young, because Tanisi's a couple years younger than me, but that man is so knowledgeable in acting and poetry. So, you know, it's not like, oh, I'm older than you, I got an ego, I'm better than you. It's like, nah, like,
right, right.
you can teach me something, like, and that's where I am. That's how I got to where I am. Is like I wasn't afraid to humble myself and ask questions. And sometimes I felt like, yeah, I know what the hell I'm doing, and I fell flat on my face a lot of times. So you're gonna have a bad show sometimes. So at the end of the day, you gotta dust yourself off and try again. But always humble yourself and don't be afraid to ask questions because um, like how Drake be saying in his songs, like, I did it by myself. I blew it. That's bullshit. That don't ever listen to that. You can never do it by yourself. That is bull. Like God,
Nah, man,
Allah,
yeah.
yeah, God, Allah, Yahweh, whoever you pray to, and then your community around you, because
Right.
somebody had to open a door for you and be like, you know what, I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna put you in this play, or I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna put you in this movie, or you know what, the open mic list is full, but brother, you know what, you can go. I'm gonna squeeze you in there. Something like somebody gave you an opportunity or a chance. So like
Right.
people, that whole I did it myself, like no, that's all bull.
That's what I love about the Kumba kickbacks and the poets realm and stuff like that. Like, it literally, you're in a community of everyone there. Majority of everyone there is just murderers. They are just nasty at their craft. Like, it's just insane. Just influence the life. You, fucking Mufasa, all of them. Like y'all are just murder, just 24/7, just destroying it. Like you just go in there, you just feel the vibe, like the culture is just strong in there. Like I don't know how no one is not changed. I feel changed every time I try to go there. Every time I pull up, like I feel so changed. Like it's just
Yeah,
raw. It's powerful.
it's beautiful vibes and it's beautiful energy. Shout out to the Rhythm and Brews podcast. Never Say No.
Yeah,
We just did an improv show with them, and like I wasn't gonna really do improv like that with Never Say No because it's quarantine and like I haven't really done a show in a while. But like seeing them brothers at the kickback and then like running into people on the poetry scene like Tamani Rain, who's one of the hosts of Poets Forum. She's like, Phoenix, when we gonna do
right.
improv? And I'm like, just seeing them have like and then Lucky Lefty from Rhythm and Brews being at a kickback and both of them coming up to me and going, "Yo, we need to do some improv," and I'm like, you know what, it's time to do improv, and just like seeing their energy and
Mm-hmm.
how they are as people and as artists and how passionate they are, that made me go, all right, let me put something together, whatever. And then the show, the show was phenomenal. It's just because it's just energy and who they are as people and just willing and being able to learn and be like, all right, let's do this. And everybody just with that energy and the spirit of like, yo, this is gonna be dope. I got your back. Like let's do this. It's like just all getting together and like coming together and just going out there having fun is like that. That's that beautiful like chemistry would Never Say No on Rhythm and Brews. And the show was pretty cool. Like and there was some mess ups. There were some times where like some games didn't go over well, but at the end of the day, it's just like, yo, it was improv and the crowd was still rocking with us. And it's like that's how like stuff is cool because like some things didn't go over like good. It kind of like little technical like mess ups and stuff like that. But like the crowd was still into it, and like the team like Never Say No Rhythm Bruce was like, I mean, it's cool. We'll get them next time. It's cool. We're so busy out there. We're so busy out there
Right,
having fun. You feel me? It's like, man, that's what it
right.
is. So if say a game didn't go well, it was like, as you can see, this is improv, straight off the top of the head. Like, sometimes things don't go according to plan. Like, we're making this up on the spot. All right, next, like, we're just vibing. We ain't even care. But it's like the people I was on the stage with just vibing and having fun.
I need to pull up to one of those improvs. I miss
Yeah, I'm trying to
improv
do. I'm
so
trying to do
much.
another one after the holidays, maybe like February or something like that. Everybody's like, do one in December. I'm like, that's too soon. I just did one in November. So
Right,
we're
right,
trying to
right.
make it like we're trying to make it a regular thing. You know, now that like more people are getting vaccinated and people are like starting to do a little bit more like live like theater and stuff like that. Because I think like Broadway kind of just opened back up like in September.
Yeah, yeah.
So now
That's
things are getting
crazy.
a little bit more comfortable with concerts and like live performances. So, we're just, looking into doing so. And then like February, like maybe finding a bigger space or maybe still doing it at Bridgeport Creates, but limiting like, the amount of people that can come in because it is still quarantine. And I do want to provide this,
Right.
perform of entertainment to the community, like, improv or whatever. And also like, provide the platform if people want to learn improv, like start teaching workshops to, like teens and like, adults alike. Cause improv is fun and it's a great stress reliever if you just want to come be free for a minute. So and me and my fiance, like we linked up with the kids and we was like, come on, let's go. Hey kids, it's in New Haven. Let's go there and get some insomnia cookies or whatever, right? Because I met up with her and my children. And it's just
Right.
like I haven't been to New York, right, since the pandemic or whatever. So like me walking around with my son in downtown New Haven going for insomnia cookies, you live in New Haven, so you already know how it is Saturday night. And I think the Yale versus Harvard game was yesterday too. So like downtown was packed at like 6, 7 o'clock. And my son is just sitting there like, and then we went to Aladdin's Pizza. We got like Cypher Pizza and then like insomnia cookies. In between that little interaction right there, my 11-year-old son Josiah was just like, yeah, I don't like New Haven. He was just like, there's too many people, Dad. And I'm like,
Yeah, yo.
it's dawning on me like, yo, I'm used to being in places, but I'm not used to being in places where there's this many people like on the sidewalk, just walking. Like it's just like you're crossing the street and there's like 8 people on a corner trying to figure out which
Right.
bar they want to go to cross the street, or you're leaving Aladdin's and then you're walking by a bar on the side of the sidewalk, but there's 12 people outside, on a
Yeah.
little patio joint or on the sidewalk, and I'm like, yeah, It feels like I'm in New York for a minute. I'm not, used to seeing as many people out, like
New Haven is downtown. New Haven is wild, man. I don't remember it being this crazy when I first moved. Maybe I wasn't out in downtown New Haven as much, but I was working downtown, and I don't remember it being as crazy. I feel like even when the pandemic, people were just like, "Yo, I don't care." Like you see the clubs, the line literally go out to the street. Like
hmm
it's insane. There's people everywhere. You got kids running into restaurants with no mask when there's a mask mandate. They're like, "Oh, can we use the bathroom?" I'm like, "All six of you motherfuckers is gonna go in this bathroom."
Yeah, I mean,
What are
like
y'all
it's
doing?
all you just gotta like you just gotta be safe or whatever. And at the end of the day, like I'm still social. I'll still go to places, but I kind of really don't go to any places outside of like Bridgeport like that. Like, of course, I go to the theater, maybe like
Right.
a brunch, Thelma's, or like something that Bridgeport creates, something
That's out the
local in the area.
Thelmas.
Yeah. But yeah, like I really don't go out to too many places, It's not that I'm afraid or anything, because I've been to the casino during the pandemic and stuff like that. But it's just like I think it was the fact that like I was with my children and I was out grabbing cookies, and I'm like, and you know how tight Insomnia Cookies is over there across the street
Yo,
from the Sugar, and
seriously.
it's like 12 people in a line. With like, I'm like, I think that's what made it go, damn. Okay, son, we'll be out of here in a second. Like it's a lot of people here, like, you know.
Even your son, like, yo, it's too much out here.
Yeah. The cookies were totally worth it though. We tore them
Right.
cookies up when we got to the house. Ate
Word,
some on the car
word.
on the way back. But like, yeah, it was a lot of people. For me to move in that space is one thing, but for my kids, it's like I don't really.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting down to the hour here, but I want to
Okay,
thank you so much for coming on. And I got one more question to ask you. I might have a second question after that, but
it's okay.
I'm just talking about it because that it just happened yesterday and everyone's talking about it, so we might as well talk about it. This episode is probably going to be released next week, um,
Okay.
in December when everyone's good tensions. But how do you feel about that whole Kyle Rittenhouse situation with that verdict and shit? Like,
Um, I feel like the verdict is. I feel like the verdict is BS.
yeah,
I feel like the verdict is BS. And when I say the verdict is BS, I'm not just saying that because I'm a black man. I feel
right,
like the verdict is BS because the country, they saying all the stuff about changing the gun laws and all this other stuff, and it's just like, why the hell does a 17-year-old boy have an AR rifle? You know,
exactly.
you are not in a proper headspace to be carrying a damn gun at 17. Like, oh, you know what? My name's Jason. I'm in the chemistry class.
Right,
My girlfriend left me for the head of the football team. You know what? I'm gonna get my AR, and I'm like, you get what I'm saying? You're not even mature enough to make those type of decisions and hold the damn AR. You feel me? So it's just like
exactly.
when you I feel like when you have like your driver's license at like 16 or whatever the case may be, there's laws and stuff that go with you not driving at certain times or whatever, having your license because of the age that you are. Why does a 17-year-old have an AR? Like they're not in that mental space to do that. And then it wasn't like his mom drove him like across state lines or
Yeah,
something like that. Like it's
yeah.
just there's so much
She
to
also
this
says she's
to this
proud of him as well.
like, yo, your 17-year-old son took somebody's life, in a protest. Wasn't the protest about like police brutality or something like that? What was the
Yep,
protest
Jacob
about? Like,
Blake. Jacob Blake, the father that got shot 9 times in front of his children in the car. And he's paralyzed from the waist down now. That was that protest.
so like my whole thing is like the mom was wrong for bringing him. The 17-year-old is wrong for having the AR. Like, we're not even going to talk about the old self defense and the technicality. My whole
Right,
thing is the magic word here is intent. You were coming there looking for fucking trouble.
right. And
There's
he
no re-
literally had a full mag too. Why you had a whole loaded gun if he wasn't intending to use it? Like,
like at the end of the day, and he's like, "Oh, I'm here to like, protect the property or something like that." That's BS. Because I watched some of the trial, and I remember hearing one of the lawyers was going like, they did not get in contact with those people to protect, like, was it a car lot or something like that?
We're supposed
You
to
know,
protect like a
yeah,
company, something like that. Yeah.
yeah,
The owner, the two brothers, they literally on record said that they did not ask for them to come. They did
yeah.
not want that.
And I understand, like, everybody deserves their fair day in court, and it has to go to trial, and hopefully the justice system works to the best of his ability. But I'm just gonna say it. I just feel like in this case the justice system has failed. It's like two innocent people like
Right.
lost their life or whatever because it's just like you like they went there with the intent looking to start trouble. You know,
Yeah.
for example, we from Bridgeport, whatever the case may
Exactly.
be, right? Listen, we're not we from Bridgeport, say we live on like the north end or whatever, nice side of Bridgeport. We're not walking in the middle of PT housing projects at 1 in the morning if we're not looking for some drugs or some pussy. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's just like we're not gonna go walk in the hood at 1 in the morning. Like we just know better, like
Right.
so it's just like why are you coming, you know, to a Black Lives Matter protest with an AR-15? You know, it's just like that just don't sit right with me. And it's messed up that the kid that he got off, because innocent people lost their life, or whatever the case may be. And however the situation popped off is just like, whether the other people that were murdered, whether they confronted him first, like, or whatever. I don't know all the situation, but it's just like regardless, if I'm at a peaceful protest at 11 at night
Mm-hmm.
and I see a white person, whether I'm white, black, whatever, and I
Mm-hmm.
see somebody walk up with an AR-15, I'm gonna feel unsafe. I don't care
Yeah.
what race you are, So I think it's messed up, and it's just I feel like in between that and the whole people like storming the Capitol at the beginning of this year is just like,
Oh,
yo,
the January 6th shit. Yeah.
yeah,
That
it's
was
just like, man,
the
like,
edifice of what was about to go down.
yeah, it's like they gotta do something, And at the end of the day, it's like the justice system is supposed to make people feel safe. I'm not just saying like just black people. It's just like how do you feel safe if your politicians feel like they're in danger? And it's just like how do you feel safe when people are peacefully protesting? But the Kyle Rittenhouse thing, I didn't like the verdict, but I will say this: at the end of the day, we can't get mad at Kyle Rittenhouse for what he did.
Mm.
Be mad at the system. The system is broken. It don't got nothing to do with him. Because for
Yeah.
him to be able to do that
Right.
at a protest where the police shot somebody 9 times, it's the system that's broken. It's not him. He might have already been crazy or his mama already been off mentally in the head or whatever the case may be. So it's not them to be mad at. It's the system because it's just like, what if something like this happens again? That makes people feel like, well, damn, this person could get off like scot free or whatever, and that sucks. And you think about like, okay, self defense or whatever the case may be, but still to the point of he is 17 with an AR rifle.
Right.
Like
Right.
that makes no sense in a country that's trying to prevent like mass shootings and all this other stuff. It's just like it just
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to me.
He could get off, but these these mass shooters and stuff, are they going to get off in the future? Like, what does this mean? Like
Yeah,
it's like, where's the line at?
yeah, it's messed up, and then it's just like, now I'm gonna say this: if he was black, he wouldn't have been out there like that. As soon as he got out the car, he would have probably been shot dead
Yeah.
in the street. They
Yep.
wouldn't be able to walk around freely, and
Yep.
like it's just ridiculous. And then it's just like
You don't hear any
people,
black person doing shit like this and getting
of
off.
course not.
Not at
Then
all.
the person that got shot by the police, were they a black person that got shot 9 times?
Oh, it was two. Oh, so you talking about Jacob Blake? Jacob Blake was a black father that got into an argument with this lady, and the lady called the cops on him. So when the cops were coming, he got upset that she called the cops on him. So he just turned around and went back, was heading back to his car where he had his
Mm-hmm.
kids in. And then when the
Mm-hmm.
cops came, they were like, "Yo, don't move, blah blah blah. And he was like, oh, look, I'm just gonna go back in my car. I don't want no problem. And then that's when one of the white cops just ran up and just right behind him, just shot him 9 times in the back. Like I was like, oh, dude, he's leaving. What? He's leaving
So
the argument.
the other thing too is it's like it take 9 shots to stop somebody. Because I'll be honest with you, you could have tased him and stopped him.
Yeah,
He
you
could have
can't
shot him
tase
in
him.
his damn leg. If you shoot
Right,
somebody in the leg, you go, all right, I'm gonna move. That I
right.
mean, nine. Like,
Then his
what is that
kid
like?
sees that. Like your kids just saw their father getting shot. Like that's crazy. Like
The poor kids are gonna be traumatized or whatever. Like, and at the
right,
end of the day, it's just like the poor kids are gonna be traumatized. And then I also feel like when we see things like Kyle Rittenhouse in the media and him being able to get off, it's traumatizing.
right,
Seeing something like that is traumatizing. It's just like, yo, just this justice system is failing us. You know, um, it's sad that it gotta be that way. I just hope things like this doesn't happen in the future. There definitely needs to be some type of like police reform. There definitely needs to be some type of like uh reform when it comes to like gun control and how people have access to firearms, you know, because this is not like some old gang violence or something like that. It's just like,
no,
yo, the access to these firearms is free. It's just like, they need to do a bit of a stronger like background, a background check or whatever. Maybe, look into like the family history or whatever. If like say like you trying to get a firearm, but like, say like his mom, for example, got like mental issues, then they need to do like an extra step, like, well, we needed you to come in and take this damn test. You know how like when
right,
you're applying for a job or something, they be like answer these questions. They need to do something like that because it's just like he may not be legally in the system is crazy, but say like his mom is like off mentally, like you need to like interview him and make sure he's good before he even gets some type of firearm or something like that because you got to think we inherit a lot of things from our parents. Our parents teach us how to give and how to receive love or whatever. So if your mom treats you like joint, like crap, or like your dad beating on you or crazy abusive, you're gonna be a little off until you go to therapy and get that. And you're
right.
17. We don't know what's going on in the household. So like these are things that people need to take into consideration. It's sad that that people lost their life. At a peaceful rally to protest an injustice done to a man in front of his family. It's just pouring salt into the wound. I just think it's just messed up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And like, the whole thing of the matter is that the facts of it is that he literally was brandishing his weapon, showing it off to people, and they told him to stay on the property. He decided to go into the street and point the gun at
Hmm.
people. He's looking for trouble. How is that not looking for trouble? I don't understand that. And the other part is they're trying to say it's self-defense because these people try to disarm him. If you shoot somebody and you start running and people see that you shot somebody and someone's thinking that you're going to shoot somebody else, of course they're going to try to disarm you. They're going to do two things. They're going to fight or run. So those two people that he shot after he killed that first guy, they were trying to disarm him and make sure that no one else gets shot. Nobody else was
Hmm.
shot at all during that whole protest. No one until that kid came. There was literally nobody getting hurt. And they showed multiple videos of how people were arguing, yelling at each other, but nobody was getting physical. Nobody was being violent until he
I,
pulled up.
I mean, I think it's crazy. And then the other thing too is I think like like I think it's also trying to push that false narrative that people of color can't peacefully protest. And that
Right,
is completely false. It is like, no, we want to peacefully protest because we're protesting because a man got shot by the police. We are peaceful. Stop trying to spin that narrative and think we're all thugs or violent or animals or savages. Like, no, we're peacefully
right,
protesting, using our voice and our right to raise awareness to what's going on. And now, like with this situation, is just like it just trying to make it seem like people can't peacefully protest. And I mean, you could look at Kyle Rittenhouse and tell that something's off with him. He looked like the kid in school that probably got his head dunked in the toilet a couple of times, like the makings of a supervillain. Like I'll show you Like
right. Right, man. He's one of those kids that like straight up like if he was your classmate and you probably see him like looking at guns and you try to be his best friend so he doesn't try to shoot you because you're like this dude's gonna shoot the school up. Like he's gonna do it. Either way.
you know how like in high school you always got like the kid that just like put his hoodie on and put his head on the desk he looks like one of those. Like I just and listen, this is at the end of the day, it's just like I can crack jokes like this because
right.
I work with kids of all ages. I'm a substitute teacher. I teach people, so like I can,
right.
When you've been educating for a minute, you can identify which students you're gonna have to pay more attention to really be patient with and stuff like that, or you could tell what students might have trouble or might be like socially awkward and stuff like that. And as an educator, those are students you lean into and you be super nice to them. You ask them a lot of questions because maybe they don't feel loved, they don't feel welcome. But like sometimes you can look at people and you can just tell like, yo, something not right with this person. And I just think the whole situation is a sad situation. America needs to do better with the gun laws. They need to do better with the justice system and the police reform. They definitely need to do better. Like there's no reason why somebody should be shot that many times. Because what is the excuse you're gonna use? Oh, I felt like my life was in danger. Oh, I felt like he was a threat. He's a threat walking back to his car with his children. You get what I'm saying? Like
that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. But they'll come up with anything, But thank you so much for being on here, Jason, man. This is dope. Love to have you back on in the future, man. Season 3 and everything like that. What you got coming up next? What you got? You got any projects you want to shout out?
Honestly, the only thing I can really say right now is hey, look out for Never Say No Improv Troupe. We should have a show coming up in February. Follow me on Facebook, Jason Phenix Hall, the name you see on the screen. Follow me on Instagram, Phenix the Artist, PHENIX the Artist. Follow me on Twitter, Phenix the Artist, Phenix without the O, just the way you see it on the screen. Yeah, follow Never Say No on Instagram. Never Say No Loves Improv. Yeah, like us on Facebook, Never Say No Improv Troupe. That's what I got coming up, Never Say No. We got a show coming up in February, and yeah, I'll be back at Houston Tonic teaching these Capital Prep students. And I'm excited to get back to some of the norm, to teaching and inspiring and uplifting these young men and women of color in the schools and just like inspiring them to be great and just do dope stuff and believe in themselves. Like that's all it's about. Because with this pandemic and this craziness we see on the news, is just like you just gotta like avoid that and believe like that you're protected and that God got you and that you're amazing, and just carry yourself like that,
Right. Thank you, Phenix, for coming on, and have a good night, brother. Well, good day.
Anytime, man. You too. Let me know when the episode posts.
I definitely will. I will send you all the information you need.
All right, cool. Thanks. Peace.
Effectively transforming community, peace in our human family, volume and unity, divine light shining individually, collectively transforming community, peace in our human family.
One love, one growth, as above, so below. Feel the pain in my soul, the red pill dissolved. Organized, no matter the cost. Politicians start wars, they don't fight, they send the poor. And nothing lasts forever as long as we stay together. Give hell to the masses, watch the unity rapture. This is for the kids and the culture. It's one love, one growth, one light.